Hello anyone and welcome back to Three Hopes, where I'm very curious about how they're going to follow up what happened last time. This should be an experience.
Azure Gleam. Fanaticism.
Yeah, that's a great sign.
The year is 1182. 5 moons have passed since the battle at Aryan Road. While the war itself has changed little in this time, Adrestia has undergone a striking transformation. Its rivers run red with the blood of its citizens, who are beset by rampant pillage and slaughter. Dimitri resolves to kill the Emperor, dismantle Adrestia, and put an end to this grim reality.
I mean, to be fair to Edelgard, she doesn't seem to be in charge at the moment.
Is this true, Lady Rhea?
Sorry.
It is. Edelgard told me as much before she left to deal with the upheaval in Enbar. Regent Volkard von Arundel was colluding with Tomas and his fellow knaves.
Oh, now we know about Strudel. Okay.
For many years, Lord Arundel was a pious adherent to the Church and its teachings, until one day, his contributions abruptly ceased. Speaking of it now, I realize such a sudden change ought to have raised suspicion.
Just like Tomas, he became an entirely different person almost overnight. We had a similar occurrence in Fargus as well. Do you know of the court mage Cornelia?
The one who cured the plague, yes? So she too.
Indeed. I have reason to believe she conspired with Lord Arundel to murder my father. I had assumed them to be agents of the Empire, striving to sow discord within our lands. Yet, back at Aryan Road, the Emperor herself was assaulted by a dark mage who we can assume is in league with Tomas. Whoever these people are, they clearly have their own objectives in this conflict.
As for the man who appeared, Talus, was it? It seemed as though the Emperor recognized him.
Yes. She also claimed this Talus was the one responsible for my father's death. I find it difficult to take a bitter enemy's assertion as fact. But the pieces do fit.
Sorry, am I interrupting? It's been a while, Dimitri. Rhea?
Claude!
That it has, Claude. I'm sorry you had to come all the way to Ferdiad for this.
My beloved!
That makes 2 of us. I can think of plenty of better places for a meeting than this chilly old capital of yours. Of course, I'm the one who asked to stop by in the first place. Thanks for seeing me, Dimitri. The Empire's sure been busy lately. An uprising over here, a siege over there. You'd think they'd get tired of causing so much chaos. But now they're looking to cross the Aramid and do the exact same in Alliance territory. I doubt it'll be long before we start getting hit with some serious losses. Which brings me to my point. What say we partner up and use our combined strength to bring the Empire down?
I mean, I'm in favor.
I am grateful to hear such a suggestion, Claude. Hardened as our soldiers may be, even the combined force of the Kingdom and the Knights of Seros pales in comparison to the staggering might of Adrestia.
If we ever hope to take their capital, we'll need to splinter their army between east and west. And, as Enbar lies in the southernmost reaches of the Empire, carving a path to it will not be an easy task.
I could get behind scattering their troops, but they've got a bear of a man in Count Burgley's defending their eastern flank. Passing through Hevring territory in the west won't be smooth sailing either. The Ogma Mountains aren't exactly what I'd call welcoming.
You're right. Any attempt at head-on assault will leave our forces depleted and exhausted before we even reach the capital.
But hey, you're in luck. I have a plan. A way we can target Enbar without so much hassle. All we have to do is claim one vital stronghold, and their sway in Fódlan will shrink dramatically. Any ideas what it is?
Presumably either the Great Bridge of Myrddin or Mercius.
Garreg Mach.
Or Garreg Mach.
Hey, you really know your stuff, Dimitri.
I'll take it.
Garreg Mach is sacred to us. Reclaiming it would provide a significant boost to morale. But how do you propose we strike at such a well-fortified location?
We'll draw the Imperial Army out to our respective front lines, then launch a pincer attack on the old monastery from both the east and the west. It's not the fanciest plan in the world, but it's all we've got right now.
Then allow me to suggest an idea of my own. I believe we should approach by way of Aelel.
Oh, must we though?
The valley is not closely guarded by the enemy, and its narrow paths negate any numerical advantage they may hold over us. If all three of us dispatch our best warriors, then I am certain we can retake Garreg Mach.
The Valley of Torment, huh? You're a better tactician than I gave you credit for, Rhea. How about this? First, we create a diversion by sending separate forces to the east and west and making it look like we aim for their capital. That'll split their focus. Then, when the time's right, we shift our attention to Garreg Mach, sending an army through the Valley of Torment to reclaim it.
The issue then becomes how to hold our ground on both the eastern and western fronts. The west does not concern me on its own, but we will have Count Burgley's to contend with in the east.
The trick is engaging the enemy as little as possible. And don't worry, I've got a few surprises up my sleeve if we need them.
The Knights of Seros may be few in number, but they are all the more agile for it. They will act separately, providing reinforcements wherever necessary.
Thank you, Lady Rhea. The support is much appreciated.
Tell me, Dimitri, are you gonna stay buddied up with the Central Church once this war is over?
My people still seek their guidance. So long as that is the case, I will continue to offer them shelter.
Meaning what? You'd toss them out on the street if nobody needed them anymore?
I doubt such a day would ever dawn. Territories may change, but people's hearts will always be stubborn things. Even if we started our own church like the Empire has, there's no guarantee our citizens would accept it in any timely manner, or at all. Let me ask you, Claude. How long do you plan to maintain this partnership with the Kingdom?
I hope we can keep this beautiful thing going for many years, long beyond the trouncing we're about to hand the Empire.
That glint in your eye says otherwise. But I'm glad to accept you as an ally, for the time being at least.
Come on, you can't seriously be doubting me already. Learn to trust a little, Dimitri. And speaking of trust, I trust you'll be throwing a big feast tonight to celebrate the occasion. I can't wait to taste that old-fashioned Fargus hospitality.
Well then.
Hard to believe it's already been 6 months since the siege back at Aryan Road.
Quite. It's no surprise we've been at a standstill, though. Both the Empire and Kingdom suffered heavy losses during the battle. But lucky for us, it seems the ice is finally thawing. Let's hope you've kept your wits as sharp as your blade all this time.
Ah, there you are.
Hey, what are they doing here?
What are they doing here? I mean, 3 of them I love, but 1 of them can know.
Were you not made aware? Our fine leaders have seen fit to integrate our armies, as we'll be fighting on the same side from here forward. Claude was quite insistent on our joining you on the Western Front.
I mean, I too would want to get rid of Lawrence, so I'm kind of on Claude's side there.
I just wish it wasn't so cold here. I can feel my muscles tightening up already.
Yes. I had hoped the cold would at least bring a picturesque snowscape with it, but alas.
I'm sorry to say we receive little snowfall in this part of the kingdom. I imagine our winters aren't all too dissimilar from those you experience in Leicester.
So, what would you like us to do?
Well, I guess there are 2 options. Either you all can stay on the front lines with us, or join the rear guard and help in a more indirect way.
Either is more than acceptable for us, though I should say our preference would be to fight by your side. If we fail to distinguish ourselves here, there will be no end to Claude's sarcastic wit upon our return.
Are we gonna react to that? I guess not. Oh. Huh. I guess I'm gonna recruit them?
Let's take them at the front with us. That's where we're gonna need the most help.
Agreed. We can discuss further with the others later, but it's safe to assume that is the direction we'll head.
Very well. Allow us to show you what Alliance soldiers are capable of.
First of all, the heck was that laugh? And second of all, bold of you to assume I'll be using you, Lawrence.
Nice of Claude to be sending us back up.
Indeed. It's hard to know what their motivations may be, but we need all the help we can muster.
Your tone's telling a different story, though. What's up?
It's merely that we all have our own reasons for taking part in this fight. Everyone, Claude, Rhea, even us. Each side is watching the other like famished hawks for the slightest hint of foul play.
What? You mean there's more to this thing than just stopping the Empire?
Yes. For my part, I would like to uncover the true nature of this enemy hidden in the shadows of Fódlan.
Well, I guess they didn't really give Dimitri or Edelgard a chance to do slithery stuff on their routes, so sure.
The Church likely wants little beyond the reclamation of Garreg Mach. As for Claude, who can say? Rodrigue should be joining us here in the coming month, after he's finished tying up loose ends in the west. But even as our numbers burgeon, we can't afford to lower our guard. The situation demands constant vigilance.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot again. Fun! Anyway, I probably won't be using the Alliance people all that much, because I want to save them for their actual route. But I'm not upset to have them. Ooh, new exam seals! Alright, Dimitri has to see me. Something about a decision he's making. Okay, we'll get there.
What do you think?
How did it feel going onto the battlefield again? Were you overcome with sentimentality? We went on the battlefield again? No different than usual, I guess.
Nuh-uh.
No, not really. I felt calm like always. Glad to hear it. I'm certain you're much stronger now than you were half a year ago. Okay, sure. Ugh.
Greetings. Good day.
We meet again, Shell. Now that I have arrived, you have nothing more to fear, except, literally, you. For I am the one who carries both the Alliance and its gloriously unreliable leader upon my very shoulders. My larger concern is for the Alliance territories. The people must be losing sleep over my absence. Well, feel free to go back. I'm not stopping you. Very much not stopping you. Oh, hey, Marianne.
Oh.
I must apologize. You finally have reinforcements, and yet you get me as their commander. If it bothers you, I can return to the Alliance at once. Let's encourage the poor girl. What are you talking about? You've already come this far. We're all counting on you, so just do the best you can.
Yes.
Right, I'll try. I wasn't terribly encouraging, but we all know the Walnut is not good at that. Another battle on the horizon, and one that will decide the Empire's fate, no less. Have you heard how the Imperial Army's in disarray? I wonder what's going on. And what has become of Adi? It's concerning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a definite concern. If the Empire falls apart, chaos will spread through the rest of Fódlan. You're probably right. Maybe I should... No, I'm sorry. I'm alright. I can fight. The battlefield is my stage, after all. As much as I love you, Dot, I'm sorry I'm getting distracted by my beloved! I was hired as a formality, of course, but I have subordinates and family in the kingdom, so it all worked out for the best. Don't worry, trust is the foundation of my business. I'm not going to betray you simply because it strikes my fancy. But I suppose I would understand if someone didn't believe me because of my circumstances. I love you. You're the best. Would you like a gift? Have an owl feather.
You really know what I like.
I love you. Anyway. Oh, hello, Imperial General.
How may I help you?
The Empire has greatly changed since their defeat at Aryan Road. Her Majesty reappointed Duke Aya and delegated the majority of political administration to him. He should have stayed banished, if you ask me. Both Lord Ferdinand and the Marquis disappeared from the palace soon after. There is no future for the Empire. Joining the Kingdom Army was the right choice. Wait, Ferdinand and Hubert ran off together? I mean, I know there's a lot of fanfic about that, but it seems surprising.
That reminds me.
One time I was driving my wagon down the road after it rained, and wouldn't you know, it got stuck in the mud. and I just happened to be passing by and he stopped and lifted the wagon straight out of the muck all by himself. It wasn't until later I found out that knight was the king. I just about keeled over, let me tell you. I'm forever grateful, and maybe a little frightened. A regular person shouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, does it ever get explained, Houseblade's magical strength? I don't know.
Nothing to report.
Greetings, Commander. Nothing to report. With all these Alliance folk coming to lend a hand, it feels like our camp went from boring to bustling overnight. Seeing all these people milling about reminds me of when I was at Garrigmark. Yeah, you and me both. Yes. Oh, hey, Shell. Nice timing. Let me introduce you to my partner here. The name's Shamir. Nice to meet you. Thanks for your help at Arian Road. Shamir left the Knights of Ceres 2 years ago and has been working as a mercenary in the Alliance. But she's going to be fighting with us from now on. I can vouch for her skills. Nice. I love those two. Gonna have to grind for supports, assuming they can have them. Right when things had finally died down in the west, they go and send my father to the Alliance. Aww. He works too much, even though he's getting on in years. What am I gonna do with him? You're the same way. You're working your tail off too, you know. I guess the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. Oh, well, but I'm a lot younger than him and in better shape too.
Uh-huh.
Since he's working so hard, there's no excuse for me not to do the same.
Uh-huh.
No, not you. Why must you stand so close?
To tell the truth,
I spent some time in Camulus and was exceedingly busy helping all the people there. Many were fleeing from the Empire with the Central Church's aid. Sympathize?
Yeah, I don't know.
That must have been rough. Since you're back, does that mean things have settled down over there? Yes, for now. Though I'm sure the situation will grow dire once the fighting starts. The battlefield is a dreadful place, and it's truly horrifying to take another person's life. And yet at this point, the thought of doing nothing is far worse. Yeah. Looks like my days of peace and quiet are over.
so wrong!
Why do you think they're sending me to the front lines again? Is it because I'm from the Empire? Oh, this is too much pressure.
You sure?
It's not about where you're from. People are just counting on you. And no one's forcing you to do anything. Counting on me? Well, when you put it that way, alright, I'll do it. That was a quick mood change.
Are you busy?
The King's attendant is from Dusker, and some commoners have been knighted as well. I heard that even a former bandit's become a general. Oh, and a mercenary captain has too. I wonder if they promote someone like me one day. I've got more than enough ambition. And at this rate, probably, coming from said mercenary captain.
I know you.
Hey, long time no see. You haven't changed a bit. How's it been going? Meh?
Right on.
I'm good, can't complain. Though it'd be even better if we could end this war with the next campaign. Wouldn't that be nice? At any rate, I'm glad to be working with you again. My motivation goes right out the window when you're not around. Well, at least one of the people we recruited from the Empire is actually happy to be here. Makes a nice change. My son!
Amazing, actually.
This is my first time visiting Kingdom territory. There's something fascinating around every corner here. The very climate allows for diverse and rare plant life, and each town or village has their unique charms. Truly, Fódlan's vastness astounds me every day. Oh, my apologies. I must compose myself. We're at war and I'm a knight after all. You're so cute. I like his outfit. Also interested to see what supports these people have. Lawrence and Annette. Okay. Interesting. Raphael and Felix and Ash. I just like the inter-house ones. Ignatz and Sylvain. That could be interesting. Marianne and Bernadetta could be fun. Yuri and Sylvain. I've heard that those are entertaining. I'd like to get Yuri and Ash as well, actually. Oh, there's going to be some fun ones here. Happy and Ignatz. Huh. Definitely going to have to mess around with those. Anyway.
Hey there. Hey!
We probably shouldn't lean on the Alliance too much, but it is nice to have more allies. We've even got people from the Golden Deer here now, which is really reassuring. Yeah? Definitely. They're a force to be reckoned with. I'll be counting on them in battle.
I agree.
The Empire may have sheer numbers, but I think there may be hope for us yet. But as to what'll happen between us after the Empire is defeated, your guess is as good as mine. I really hope they don't give us a terrible thing where we then have to kill all the golden deer. That would suck.
Oh, hi. So, yeah.
Good on you for sticking with the Kingdom Army this long. Must have been tough, huh? But your hard days are over now. I've called in a favour from Claude, you see. What was it?
Huh?
I'm not sure I'm follow. What did you ask him for? Meat. I asked him to get us some delicious, juicy meat so we can really give it our all. We'll be swimming in tasty foods from all over the Alliance in no time, so make sure you get good and hungry. Okay. Fine.
Listen, excuse me.
We are seeing each other after a long time. Are your skills still sharp? Of course. You went back to Bridget, right? Yes, home was very good. I went to the ocean and forest like when I was a child. I also said hello to the spirits. I'm curious about the spirits. Spirits, huh? Can't say I really understand, but they sound important to Bridget. They are, but spirits are everywhere. You could be praying for their protection too. So many people to talk to now.
So anyway...
There's this guy I know. He's one of the best mercs you'll ever see. He's got to be raking the coin, but every time I bump into him, he's always asking for money. Last time I saw him, he was working for the Empire. I wonder if he's still with them. If he's helping with all their pillaging, I'll bash his brains in myself. Given the money references, I can only assume that's Balthus? I don't know, though.
Got a second?
You went back to Galatea for a bit, didn't you? How was it? Your family holding up okay? Not much has changed, thankfully. Also, my father said to make sure I sent you his regards. He said you'd know what that means. Whoa, wait, did I do something wrong? I haven't done anything right, at least not lately. It's my father's idea of a joke. I'm certain he knows how hard you've been working. And how has your family been since, your brother?
So the story is...
My father's been the same as ever, and I think my mom's taking it pretty hard. Miklan wasn't her biological son, but she cared about him all the same. Aside from that, there's been nothing out of the ordinary in Gautier territory. The Strang armies came knocking a few times, but we sent them packing. I see. Well, I suppose no news is good news then. It's weird, it really feels like it's been more than 6 months.
Hey!
I came here under our leader's orders. Imagine my surprise when I found out the kingdom's food is practically inedible. Maybe it's because the land's not as fertile or something, but the grub's tasteless. And don't even get me started on the booze. I'm the best chef the Alliance has to offer. It's high time I teach these kingdom folks what real food is. Yes, the lack of cooking does in fact come up constantly. Our camp certainly is lively now that the Alliance has joined us. It feels as though I am gazing upon a scene from the Academy. Ah, this takes me back. I hope this will be an opportunity for me to cultivate new friendships. We'll find out, I guess. Felix! If you'd asked me a few months ago, I never would have guessed Fódlan would be in such turmoil. I always thought the Emperor's approach was a bit rash, but it didn't seem wholly unreasonable either, at least not until the battle at Aryan Road. Duke Aya was reinstated as Prime Minister right after that. In fact, it's almost as though he was just waiting for the Emperor's defeat, don't you think? Yeah, I don't trust him either.
Well met.
The death of the head of House Rowe marked their downfall. To be blunt, their territory belongs to the royal family now. If I make a name for myself in this battle, I might be granted my own land. A guy can dream, can't he? Still, I wonder who will end up with Aryan Road. My vote is Yuri or Ash. Probably Ash, because Yuri has his own stuff going on.
A moment.
The Archbishop has long hoped to recapture Garreg Monastery. Now that wish might finally come to fruition, and we have Claude to thank for it. Though I would have preferred him to be a devout follower of the Church. Sure?
Are you sure?
Just because he's devout doesn't mean he's not a follower. I doubt he is even that. Did you ever see him earnestly pray during your time at the Officers' Academy? It is undeniable that the people in Alliance territory are less religious than those in the Kingdom. The Eastern Church presides over Leicester, yet they do not appear particularly enthusiastic in spreading the faith. On the other hand, the Western Church's fanatical leanings are another cause for concern. Yeah, the Western Church were kind of an entire thing in houses, so I'm not too upset to not see much of them.
Have you need of me?
Much has changed in Fargus over the past few months. For instance, Houses Mateus and Gideon have new leaders, and Lord Rodrigue is currently stationed in the west to ensure conflicts are kept to a minimum. Though I expect all is relatively calm there now, so he should undoubtedly return to us next month. We will find out.
Well?
After the battle at Aryan Road, His Majesty remained stoic until we returned to Ferdiad. However, after issuing orders for our next steps, he promptly collapsed and did not wake for 3 days. When he finally awoke, he immediately returned to working on political affairs. That tendency of his never ceases to worry me. Yeah, you and me both.
Actually,
there are a ton of people here now, what with folks from Leicester adding to the Kingdom and Church's numbers. It was just recently we began to see eye to eye with the people from Fargus. I hope we can get along with those from the Church in Leicester too. Yeah. But for now, Dimitri.
Over here. I've been waiting for you.
I've been waiting for you, Shell. Follow me, we will begin the meeting at once. Oh, we're actually doing a thing, okay. This is new. I'd like to hear from everyone. Please share any suggestions you have.
I have an idea.
I was thinking...
I have an idea.
So, flexibility to improve sword technique...
I have a worthy proposition.
Lance or magic.
Thinking...
I'll go...
I've had a thought.
Probably lance or sword for Dimitri and Shell purposes. Let's go with lances.
Then it is settled. Place your trust in me.
Now then.
Is that?
Impressive.
Excellent work, Shell. We now have a solid plan thanks to you. Our battles will only grow more intense from here on out. There is no telling when we may lose one of our dear allies. You might want to spend time with them while you can. That way you will harbour no regrets should tragedy strike. Okay, who's gonna die? This is building up to a story death, isn't it? I don't trust that. Thinking about my friends reminds me of my old mercenary band. Actually, I made a little something when I first became a full-fledged mercenary. Might not be a bad idea to give that to someone. It'll be my way of saying I'll always be there for them. Okay. That means nothing to me. Your Majesty, please take care. Your wounds are barely healed, yet you're working incessantly.
No.
When should I work, if not now? There is no need for concern. I can wield my spear as I always have. I'm going to agree with Didier here.
No way.
You sure you're not just trying to tough it out? Getting enough rest is part of your job too. I suppose you have a point, but I promise I know my limits. And if I'm honest, my thoughts tend to stray to the situation with the Empire regardless. I cannot fully relax. If we had been able to defeat Edelgard, or better yet, Talus.
No.
What's past is past, Your Majesty. Right now we must focus on the battle before us. Yes, you're right, my friend. Indeed he is. Right, what supports have we got?
So it's just... no? Not under any circumstances?
It is not up for debate. This is for your own good, Flame.
Hey, you okay, Flame? Why the long face?
My brother has seen fit to forbid me from going out entirely.
That doesn't sound unusual for him. But as long as he doesn't know, what's the harm, right?
A fair point, but my brother truly is concerned for my safety. Perhaps...
It does seem like the Church has enemies all over the place these days. So I don't know. I think I get where he's coming from.
As you know, my brother and I have lived in remote and secluded places for a very long time. All we had was each other. Then we went to Garrick Mach and suddenly we were surrounded by all these people. I had hoped to make many friends and listen to their countless tales of all the places I hadn't been. But before I got to really know the people at the Officers' Academy...
Everything went all topsy-turvy and the Academy had to shut down.
Do you remember when we went into town together to look at the latest fashions? That was so much fun. I was looking forward to going shopping together again, but perhaps I should just let the whole thing go.
Oh, Flame.
I feel like Shells are responsible, so don't give up.
Don't give up so easily. We're just talking about a little outing here.
Even that would prove tremendously difficult for me. With the Church thrown into such chaos, My brother is in a near constant state of agitation. I must not trouble him further by making him worry about me as well.
You're very kind to your brother, Flayn. Just remember, it won't always be like this.
You think so?
Absolutely. Wars can't last forever, right? When this war ends and peace returns to Fódlan, taking a shopping trip will be no big deal.
If that is so, then would you be willing to go into town with me again when that day comes?
Of course. I'd be happy to keep you company. Or were you keeping me company? I forgot.
With that to look forward to, it should be no trouble to summon a little patience. It is times like this I am grateful you're not a man.
What? Oh, you mean because of Sedith?
Yes. I'm not sure my brother will permit me to go anywhere with a man, even when the war is over.
He'll never get to know any men if he doesn't. Are you okay with that?
No, but if I do it anyway and he finds out, I'm sure it would be, as I've said, utterly disastrous.
I'll help you.
Well then, I'll just have to help you sneak out, won't I?
Oh my, would you really do that? I should have known you would be so bold.
That's wingman for Flayn, why not? Oh, it's gone green now. That's weird. Oh, I can support with Yuri. Delightful. I love all of these three. Where do I start?
It's been a while since we sent that letter, but we still haven't received a response.
Yeah. We know the village chief got it, though. And we know he read it. The soldier who delivered it confirmed as much.
But he never wrote back. I wonder why.
Hard to say. Maybe he just doesn't want to get involved. Or maybe he doesn't remember us. Part of me almost wonders if my mom didn't make him promise not to tell me anything. Not that I have any proof she'd do that.
Disappointed, I guess?
It's too bad, you know? We should probably assume we're never getting a response and just leave it at that. And we don't have any other leads either, so there's not much point holding out hope. I mean, yeah, I want to know more about my mom, but it's not the end of the world if I can't. You had to give up learning about your parents too, right?
I did, but...
No matter what kind of past my mom had, she'll always be my mom. And I'll always be me. I know that she put every bit of herself into raising me, and that's what matters. There's nothing more important than that in my book.
You're right. Whatever your parents did before they had you, and wherever they are now, they'll always be your parents.
Glad you understand. And hey, not knowing the truth lets me make up all sorts of stories about her in my head.
Oh, you mean like imagining she was actually a high-ranking noble, forced into obscurity?
Not a bad idea, but not totally original either. I was thinking more along the lines of a legendary knight, known throughout every inch of Fódlan. Or maybe a mysterious adventurer who came from somewhere far beyond its borders.
Or maybe just a hecking slithery.
That would be incredible if it were true. And it would certainly explain why she was so knowledgeable. Still, I'm sorry I couldn't help you in the end.
It's all good, Ash. Without you, I never would have spent all this time thinking about my mom and who she really was. So even though we came up empty-handed, I'd say the journey itself was entirely worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should probably get going. Just remembered I've got a huge to-do list and not nearly enough time to do it. See ya!
Huh? I could have sworn I saw the commander here a moment ago.
Oh, you just missed them. I can take a message if you want, though.
In that case, please deliver this letter.
Huh. Okay.
Did you, sir? We'd like to hear your opinion on the matter we discussed earlier.
Regarding Count Karen, as I discussed with Gustav,
Looks like things are finally changing, Dedue. They've really started warming up to you, huh?
They have. That soldier I was speaking to lost his mother in Dusker. She was a knight of the kingdom. Naturally, his feelings toward me were complicated. We argued many times.
You arguing? Can't imagine what that looks like.
I thought it better than just letting him hurl abuse at me. Such a reaction was surprising for me as well. But now we have fought together, worried together, faced death together. I have shown him what I'm capable of, and he has come to trust me in turn.
Nice. Sounds like you really earned his respect then. Congrats, Dedue.
Strange. Why are you so happy for me?
Sure.
Because we're friends. And friends are happy for each other when good stuff happens to them.
Are they?
Anyway, now you've just got to keep it going and get even more people to trust you. Same goes for me. And Dimitri while we're at it.
You're right.
In the meantime, I'm gonna keep winning battles until I prove myself to you once and for all. So make sure you keep an eye on me out there, Dedue. Because I'm gonna be the most valuable fighter we've got. What? What's so funny?
Nothing. I look forward to your performance, but you already have my trust. No matter your origin or identity.
Really? You never know when I might betray you and turn my sword on Dimitri, though. Not to mention this weird power I have. Can you seriously say you trust me with that in mind?
No, frankly.
Your power is concerning, but it does not define you. I'm sure you would not so easily betray His Majesty or myself, but know that if you do, I will cut you down without hesitation.
As you should.
That's who I am. You must understand by now.
Weird way to tell me you trust me, but it's got Dedue written all over it. I'm honored.
Well, that was an experience. Do we have two with Felix? It's hard to tell.
What's wrong? Your footwork is even sloppier than usual.
You noticed that, huh? It's nothing. There's just been a lot on my mind lately is all. And I was kinda lost in thought when you lunged at me, so I couldn't really react too well.
Training isn't the time for idle contemplation. You're worthless as a sparring partner if you let your mind wander. Not to mention that you do the same thing in actual battles. Getting distracted when you're training is one thing. Do it out there, and the enemy will cut you down without hesitation. We've been through this before. If there's something on your mind, just come out with it already.
Sure.
I was just thinking you have a pretty good read on me now, too.
It was obvious something was wrong from the way you were fighting. And this is just payback for last time, so no complaining.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not.
If you say so. There's still something I don't understand, though. Where did you learn to fight like that? You clearly don't move like a knight, but I've never seen a mercenary use those techniques either.
I guess you could say I taught myself. I didn't really have one teacher who showed me everything. If anything, I just kind of picked stuff up as I moved from one band of mercs to the next.
That explains it. I was wondering why your style was so hard to read. Both knights and mercenaries use a standard set of battle-tested tactics. A book they all play by. But you're not bound to any single convention. I suppose that's what I found strange.
Probably doesn't help that I don't have to draw my sword like everyone else. When I think about it like that, it might have been for the best that I taught myself instead of subscribing to a particular school of thought.
A unique style all your own. Fascinating. Teach me.
I'd be glad to, but I'm the only one who can use my sword. It won't be easy to replicate.
That's for me to decide. If nothing else, I can adapt your moves for my own purposes. The more styles I know, the better.
Sure.
If you say so. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'll do what I can. Oh, and you can teach me in exchange. The more styles, the better, right? You fight sorta like a knight, but also sorta not. I mean that in a good way, of course. I'm not sure how to put it. It's almost like you react to the situation as it plays out. So, yeah. If we can combine our two styles somehow, I bet we'll both end up stronger for it.
Maybe so.
Oh, that was level B. Okay. On to the next one then, I guess.
He's making a run for it, Felix. Don't let him get away!
Not a chance. He's mine!
Nice work out there. It's a real confidence boost knowing you have my back.
I could say the same for you. Now that I know your style better, I have less trouble predicting your movements.
Glad to hear it. Guess you must have a pretty good read on me by now, huh?
On your sword, perhaps?
Here you go again. You know, I've gotten a good grasp on the way you think. It's like you decide on a role for yourself, then do whatever you can to see it through. Of course, the role changes depending on the situation and who's fighting beside you. Sometimes you attack, sometimes you defend.
He attack, he protect.
It's incredible just how versatile you are.
No need for compliments. That's simply how I was taught to be.
Really? By who?
My father. He may prefer a spear or magic, but he's more than capable with a sword in his hands too.
Right. Makes sense B. Rodrigue. His weapon of choice might be different, but he adapts himself to the flow of battle just as well as you do. Probably better, actually.
The style didn't start with him, though. It's something the leaders of our house have passed down throughout the ages. House Fraldarius has been the king's lance and shield for generations. Ever since the time of Kyphon, sworn friend of the great King Lugh. At times, we've been sent to defeat the crown's enemies. At others, we've held back to defend the throne. I admit the style has its uses, idiotic history of blind faith aside.
Huh. So that's why you fight the way you do. You're indispensable, Felix. Not just to Dimitri, but to everyone else, too.
I suppose if I'm a lance and shield, you would be like some kind of projectile, an arrow or a stone.
I mean, yeah, I think Shell probably does have the personality of a stone. That sounds about right. Sure.
You're saying I'm good at taking the enemy by surprise, right? You sure could learn to be more direct with your compliments, you know?
You can interpret it that way if you want. In any case, you're just as important to this army as I am. Between that sword of yours and the way you can shapeshift, nobody ever knows what you'll do next. Some might say your powers are dangerous, but I think they provide the perfect...
Huh. Glad to hear you say so.
There's one fault I can't get past, though. You can never stay focused during battle. It's almost like you're talking to someone while you fight. Someone in your head that... Hey, what's with the smile?
Huh? Oh, sorry. I'm just really happy we've gotten to know each other so well. Only a true friend would be that open with her criticism. Thanks, Felix.
Say what you will. That's the last piece of advice I'm ever giving you.
He wasn't really mad, was he? It's so hard to tell sometimes.
Thrilling. Anyway, I will get to doing some stuff and be back soon. Okay, weirdly I didn't get any random plot interludes this time, which I don't entirely trust. But I do have a couple of paralogs, one of which I'm going to ignore. I had a quick look, and this one isn't exclusive to this route, so I'm just choosing to ignore it until I'm actually doing Alliance stuff. But this one looks kind of fascinating, so let's go into it.
So is it true, Catherine? About you and my brother?
What now?
Yes, it's true. But are you sure you want to talk about this before your scouting mission?
I wouldn't have asked if I wasn't.
In that case, yes. I chose to hold to what I believed in, which meant he had to die.
Oh, just the whole thing about she turned him in? Okay.
If you can't forgive me for it, then I stand ready for your challenge.
We knew that.
I have no right to judge you. I also betrayed people I cared about for my beliefs. And in some cases, even led them to their deaths.
Fair enough. Now get going. And make sure you keep your emotions in check while on duty.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey there, Slowpoke. I think this is everyone who's available at the moment. Oh, and I've got some bad news. Looks like Imperial troops have surrounded Ash's scouting unit.
Sounds like they got wise to our plan.
Yep. Either Ash slipped up, or we've got a spy in our midst. Still, they sent a pretty impressive force if they're just looking to take out one little scout party.
That's why we think their true aim lies elsewhere.
Catherine, maybe?
Maybe they see this as their chance to draw out the infamous Thunder Catherine.
I don't think so. They've got no reason to think I'd come running to Ash's rescue.
I think you've got it backwards. Most likely, they're just coming after Ash.
Is this because he might be heir to row things?
Apparently, some of the enemy's soldiers were flying the flag of House Gaspar.
Ah. Yeah, I'm concerned.
I'm worried about Ash. What's left of House Gaspar probably thinks him a traitor.
Yeah, he won't be winning any popularity contests with that band anytime soon. You could be the most virtuous, upstanding knight in the land, and still be the embodiment of evil to whoever is on the other side.
Well, that's a fun thought.
We don't know much about the enemy, but there don't seem to be any generals of note among them. So here's the plan. We're all going to rush in there, grab Ash, and hightail it back out. Good? Good.
Good.
Already, my knights. You two make sure you're prepared too. If we aren't quick about this, we're all going to end up very dead.
It must be hard for Ash to fight against what remains of his old house.
If he's not ready to have people hate him, he should get out of the killing business. When you're alive and looking to stay that way, your interests inevitably butt up against someone else's. And look, Ash is clearly in a tough spot, but he's no fool. And he's come too far to lay down his life now. I mean, he killed his own father figure in the name of justice. It'll take more than this to shake him.
You've got a lot of confidence in him.
Hey, the guy came from nothing just like me. I can't help but root for him.
Good, to be honest. I think that they have supports. I need to go for those. Yeah, as per usual, I can't move anyone else. Well, that makes this quicker.
We need to secure an escape route, but I think we should deal with Ash first.
Right. Who knows how much longer he can hold out. We need to break through the troops surrounding him as soon as possible.
Weird music, but okay, I'm here for it.
Time to go to work.
So, these guys?
Let me show you how it's done. Not a problem. I've got this.
Let's get this operation underway.
Yeah, figures. I'm coming, Ash.
Here it comes!
Oh yeah, I changed a couple of people's outfits to their masterclass ones because they're more fun. Like Shell's one is very dramatic and I enjoy it.
Not a problem. I've got this. I live for this.
He never adopted this filthy wretch of a child. Lord Lenato would still draw breath.
I recognize all of these faces. No doubt they despise me for betraying Lenato.
Wow, I feel bad for this baby.
Watch out, everyone! I'll put you down! You're done!
Yeah, I'll get on it as soon as I can.
Leave my sight! Time to go to work. Let me show you how it's done.
I've got this.
The things I do for this kid. I see why his brother always looked out for me.
Bow before me. Let's get this operation underway, shall we?
Okay, Yuri's bow before me is extremely iconic.
I'm coming to rescue you, so don't you dare die before I get there!
Huh? Was that Catherine? What'll I do?
Stay alive is what you do, please.
You think this rickety little stronghold can slow me down? Don't make me laugh.
Glad you're okay, Ash. Now come on, let's haul ourselves out of here.
I'm sorry for the trouble. Really.
Nice.
Not a problem. I've got this.
I'll do my best. I'm a little...
Nope, not getting through here. These folks are clearly trying to hurt us in a certain direction.
Leave this to me.
I don't see another choice.
Don't worry, kid. No trap in all of Fódlan can hope to hold us.
I got you now! Renato would still be alive if I had just remained loyal and fought beside him.
Yeah, but...
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Gosh, it's all very sad. Where am I actually meant to be going? Ah, down there. I see.
I'll do my best. Let's move.
Let's get this operation underway, shall we? I'll cover you.
And clearly that's not going to be the end of it, because this entire half of the map hasn't opened up yet, so something's going to appear over here, but... I guess we'll see what that is later.
I've got it.
Stop. Oh look, it's a trap. I'm so surprised. Come on, let's kill these guys and get out of here.
He's so snarky, I love him. Shally, you... Yes.
I'll do my best. I'm a little nervous about this.
I want to be Yuri. I love him. He's delightful.
Lord Renato looks down on you with scorn, you ungrateful peasant!
And what? Ash was supposed to show his gratitude by dying alongside the guy? Come on. Ash, you did what you did because you thought it was right. So don't give in now.
Yeah. Just wait. My word. Why, you little... I'm sorry, but I did what I thought was right.
Let's keep moving. Well, a different way, because there's no getting through here.
Oh, good.
My turn.
Lots of enemies this way, too. Guess we've just gotta push through them.
We've no other choice. Keep up, Ash.
You're done!
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Not a problem. I've got this.
Okay, there. An issue?
Time to go to work.
Well, well, someone finally snapped out of it. You're looking good, Ash. I mean, no match for me, but who is?
I love him so much. I love how chaotic Yuri is. His fighting is so all over the place, and I'm here for it.
Our escape route's ready. All that's left is to take it out of here.
Where exactly are we? Oh, we're going... Okay. Right, fair enough.
Move out!
I'll do my best. Let's move. Let others say what they will. I've chosen my path.
Okay, that was a lot more work than they're paying me for.
Don't go relaxing just yet. That tricky commander of theirs is still out there.
Oh dear. It appears my friends from Gaspar weren't up to the task.
Oh, hey.
He must be the one who incited this whole rebellion. He'll pay for that with his life.
Out of the way! Back there!
No, I am but a humble merchant. Pray do not concern yourselves with me.
Yeah, your thing already said you were a thief, so kind of not believing you there.
I'll do my best. I'm a little nerve. Time to go to work.
But you know, sure.
You're rather famous, aren't you? Yes, I imagine you'd fetch a tidy sum.
You capture me?
Not likely. And after I sold them all those weapons, too. What a useless bunch.
Monologuing even in death.
Why does nothing ever go as planned?
Well, that's that done.
And that's that.
Yeah.
Come on, Ash. Let's go.
Thank you, everyone.
Looks like we're safe. Though I have to say, we cut that way closer than I'm comfortable with.
You're telling me. I could have done without that wretched merchant riling up what was left of Gaspar. I'm gonna need hazard pay for that one. Remind me to send Dimitri an invoice later.
Don't trouble His Majesty with such things.
Easy there, friend. I'm just blowing off some steam. Don't go getting your honor in a twist.
Well, I am a knight after all. Though, after fighting those people from House Gaspar, I wonder if I'm even worthy of the station.
Our entire job is killing people. It's what we do from sunup to sundown. You really think that line of work won't make you an enemy or three?
Yes, you're right. And if I needed it, this was certainly a stark reminder. Lenato once told me to hold true to my beliefs. So, I'll keep trusting my own sense of justice and walk the path I've chosen. There's no turning back now.
Encourage him seriously, I guess.
I never had much of a handle on what justice means. Or evil, for that matter. But when I see that look on your face, it makes me want to root for you all the more.
Thank you, friend. And thanks to you as well, Catherine.
I could never abandon an ally in need. Besides, I owe it to Kristoff to keep you alive.
Let's ask about Kristoff, I guess.
So I probably should have asked this already, but who is Kristoff?
Ash's adoptive older brother, and Lord Lenato's true son. We were classmates at the academy, and close friends. But when he got swept up in a conspiratorial plot, I had no choice but to put him to the sword.
This all sounds very complicated.
Oh, it is. But you can't escape your past. No one can. You, Ash, Yuri, we all have our baggage.
Well, what say we head back? I'm sure everyone is waiting for us.
Good idea. The kingdom will need to decide how to deal with House Gaspar.
I hope they can find some measure of peace. Regardless, I intend to help them however I can.
Must you? Whenever you do your best, it tends to make additional work for the rest of us.
Seriously, Yuri, can't you just agree with me for once?
I imagine the answer is no.
What's wrong, Catherine?
No, nothing. Just thinking about the past is all.
Anyway, Yuri and Ash were siblings now. I think I have an entire bunch of supports as well, so I guess we can get started on those.
Hey, Dimitri. Aren't you supposed to be on break today? What's got you down?
It's nothing. I suppose I'm just finding it difficult to relax. It is vexing to no end to lay around doing nothing, while everyone else busies themselves with vital work.
Nobody's forcing you to take vacations or anything. We just want you to have a little break every now and again. Why are you so desperate to work anyway?
Because it is my duty. No. It is the only way I know how to live. As part of the royal bloodline, my life has never for a moment belonged to me. Not even at the instant of my birth. And as a survivor of that horrible tragedy, There are certain responsibilities only I can shoulder.
I get where you're coming from, I think. I felt the same way after my company got wiped out. Still, nothing's gonna go the way you want if you can't bring yourself to trust people who just want to help. And don't even try to tell me you'd be happy with that.
All I want is to ease the pain, both for those who perished that day and for those who yet live. I'm fully aware that I will need to make sacrifices if I ever hope to accomplish that goal. But I will not drag others into my own personal crusade. I won't let anyone else suffer. So, you see, it's better for me to carry the burden myself. And better for everyone else as well.
You say you don't want to see people suffer. But what about you, Dimitri? What about your pain? You don't have a hope in the world of caring for other people if you can't care for yourself first.
I'm not sure how to respond to that. And in truth, I don't know how to alleviate my own pain. I've never given the matter any thought. What would happiness even look like for me?
How can you not know something like that? Just think about it. What kind of things make you smile? Maybe when you finally conquer a tough rival? Or hold a banquet after surviving a dangerous battle?
I don't believe I bear the right to such happiness, but if that time were to come, it would be upon my death, having devoted my life to forming a peaceful kingdom full of joyful citizens.
Well, that's a bit extra.
Seriously? You can be downright dismal sometimes, you know that? Why is death the first thing that comes to mind when you think about being happy?
Dismal? Yes, perhaps you're right. But I find it difficult to consider anything else that may cause me joy.
Come on, nothing? What about ending this war quick and celebrating with all your friends? I'm sure Dedu and the others would whip up the grandest feast you've ever laid eyes on.
No, such revelry would be wasted on me. But I suppose seeing the smiles on everyone's faces would be enough.
Thanks for thinking of us, oh great king. But fine, if you want to carry your own burdens for the rest of your life, so be it. I'll just have to take extra good care of you though, since you clearly won't do it yourself. For starters, you're gonna take a break, and by the goddess, you're gonna like it. Come on, Dimitri. We're gonna get you away from camp for a bit.
No words can express my gratitude.
Further proof that Fódlan really needs a therapist around. Ah, my beloved.
Yuri's still not back yet? It's been 5 days. What's this? A letter? Not like him to leave his stuff lying around. I wonder if it says anything about where he went. Oh, it's just sitting there. Can't hurt to take a peek, right?
I feel like you might get stabbed for that.
Are you well? Eating enough? I worry about you all the time. Thank you for sending money always. I want to see you soon. Huh. Is this letter for Yuri? It's got a different name on it.
Do we get a real name reveal?
Having fun?
Now she gets stabbed.
Yuri! Wow, you really snuck up on me. When did you get back?
Just now. More importantly, why are you snooping through things that don't belong to you? Choose your next words carefully, if you don't want them to be your last.
Ah, finally, someone else is threatening to kill Shell. I think pretending is a quick way to get stabbed.
I'm sorry. It was just sitting out in the open, so I thought it'd be okay if I read it. I was worried you weren't coming back.
Never mind. I can't imagine you'd have a reason to pry into my affairs. I suppose this is what I get for taking off without telling anyone. And for being so careless.
Yeah, I thought you'd be the last person to leave something like this behind. You must have left in a hurry.
You could say that.
I'm gonna ask.
Was it because of the letter? I assume it's from someone in your family. Maybe a little brother or sister?
My mother, actually. She doesn't really have a way with words, I know. She's always been prone to illness, but lately her condition has grown worse. I try to visit whenever she asks to see me. Obviously, there are times when I can't go, but I have to take all the time I can get, right? I never know which visit will be my final chance to see her.
I understand. Once someone's gone, they're gone. But wait, the name on that letter, is that your real name? So Yuri's an alias and you're really Reg?
No need to say it. And yes, what parent would call their kid by an alias anyway?
Are you called Reginald Yuri?
Fair point. It's a nice name, though. Why hide it?
In my line of work, it pays to have more than a few names. And don't go telling anyone about this. You won't like to find out what happens if you do.
Sure.
I won't, promise. And if I do slip up, you're free to do your worst.
Please do.
In any case, I am sorry for prying. And for what it's worth, I hope your mom gets better soon.
If it were easy to cure, then we wouldn't even be talking about it. But I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless.
Bless him. He's so great. He's terrible, but I love him.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I swear I will avenge you. Please, just wait a little longer. I will uncover who drove you to your deaths, no matter the cost.
Dimitri.
Glenn. Oh, Felix. It's you. I'm sorry you had to see that.
After 20 years, I've seen all of you there is to see.
That's a way of putting that.
Everyone else is asleep. You know that, right? So why are you locked up here in the chapel? Also, what's with the mumbling?
I suppose there's little sense in hiding it from you. I suffer from a kind of waking dream. I see them. I see the people who died on that day. At all hours, light and dark.
Wow, so he's literally hallucinating them all the time? It was implied he sees them sometimes, but good grief. No wonder he's having issues.
If the Empire was involved in that incident, if the Emperor stood by and gave tacit consent, then give to them the same end. Gouge out their hearts and cleave their heads from their shoulders. Those are the words the dead scream at me.
When did this start?
It's been 6 years. But I began hearing their voices 4 years ago. During my first battle, I recognized the enemy general as a man I had seen in Dusker. When I removed his head, the voices cheered. They laughed. It was as if a terrible pain had finally been lifted from them.
Good lord, get this man a therapist.
I think I get what's happening here. Look, do you really think your father and Glenn and everyone else would be torturing you like that? You're the one who's doing this, Dimitri. Not them. You.
Oh, and I guess Felix is the therapist now, okay.
Even if that were true, I can never forgive myself.
Believe me, I know. But it's your job to lead. If you lose your path, you'll take everyone else down with you. So try to keep that whole removing their heads thing in check, yeah? We can just call it our little secret.
Well then, are you offering to let me unburden my heart to you when the time calls for it? You're the only reason I haven't descended into utter savagery, you know. So just as Lug had Kaifon, and my father had Rodrigue, I would ask that you continue to be my right-hand man.
Right-hand man, huh? I like the sound of that.
What the hell? That was great!
What are you doing?
As your new right-hand man, my first act is to haul my restless king back to bed where he belongs.
This is absurd. My feet are dragging on the floor.
It's your own fault for being so tall, you sack of muscle.
Say, do you remember how I once carried you in this way when you twisted your ankle?
Yeah, it turns out lugging folks around is good training. So just cram it and let me finish my workout already.
Yes, of course. Please, carry on.
What the heck? I love them. That was delightful. Wow, Ash has a lot of supports, okay.
Mess hall food is just the best!
You're really piling up the plates there, Raphael. You must have been extra hungry.
Yeah, I was just out exercising. Food always tastes best after a long workout.
You should tell the chefs how much you enjoyed it. I'm sure they'd be pleased.
Will do. You know, I opened an inn myself, and I've been doing the cooking there. Except, I've never gotten a compliment from a customer. Not even once.
So they didn't like it? I wonder why.
I guess it just didn't taste very good. Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about cooking, so I had a pretty rough time in the kitchen.
In that case, why don't we work on it together? You may not have as many chances to cook here, but I bet we can still find opportunities to hone your skills. Believe me, one of the best feelings in the world is having someone tell you they enjoyed a meal you created.
Hold on. You're gonna train me? You're the best, Ash!
We'll get started right away. First, let's see you make something so I can get a feel for your skill level.
Well, how's it taste?
Well, it's not bad necessarily, but a huge pile of meat isn't really a meal. It's just meat.
Wait, you want something more than that? To each his own, I guess.
If you're going to focus on one ingredient, you have to work on your seasonings. This just tastes like a slab of bacon wrapped around a salt lick.
Genuinely a nightmare.
Also, try using some vegetables. For a garnish, if nothing else. A little splash of color will make your dishes more appealing to the eye.
Huh. I never thought about how food looked.
That's something my father always used to say. If flavor is king, appearance is the royal court. He's actually the one who taught me that adding some color with vegetables will make things taste better too.
Well, I guess I could jam a cucumber in there or something, if you think it'd help.
You can't just jam things in without thinking about it, Raphael. You have to prepare them first, then arrange them in a way that's pleasing to the eye. Every ingredient requires careful preparation in order to bring out its true flavor.
Okay. I think I get it.
For example, try seasoning the meat with some herbs, then boil your vegetables to remove the bitterness. After that, fan them out on the platter and...
Wait, hang on. I boil the bitterness out of the herbs, then blare the season? But which season? Fall? Spring?
Yes, please put the entirety of spring on a plate.
This is way harder than just throwing a hunk of beef on a plate.
Deep breaths, Raphael. You can do this. And since this whole training thing was my idea, I promise to stick it out to the very end.
Thanks, Ash. With your help, I'm gonna make grub that'll have folks licking their plates.
Good to see that the tradition of Blue Lion cooking supports continues.
What's wrong, Ingrid? You look troubled.
Oh no, it is nothing. Don't worry about it.
It has to be something if you're just standing there staring off into space. You can always talk to me, you know. It might not be much help, but...
It's this land. It is so fertile. I cannot help but be amazed.
It is an unusually bountiful region for Fargus, and a beautiful one at that. It doesn't have nearly as much snow as the north, and multiple rivers flow through it. I could scarce take my eyes off of that wheat field we passed earlier.
My home does not have anything as lovely as that. It's nothing but a barren, rocky wasteland. And the soil we do have is so poor, even the weeds disdain it. We have tilled the ground, removed rocks, and sowed seeds in hopes that our descendants might one day benefit, but, well, who knows how long it would take for us to have large, fruitful fields like the ones here.
Our blood, sweat, and tears will drench the land, serving as nourishment for those who come long after. You may not accomplish it in your lifetime, but the effort will definitely pay off down the road. Or, that's what I think, at least.
Those are the words of King Lugh, yes? From Lugh and the Maiden of Wind. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, hearing you talk about your homeland actually reminded me of another part. At one point, it uses the phrase, barren as the land of Dagda. I'm sure it's just some term the poets created long after Lug, but it got me curious. So I went and tracked down a travel journal about Dagda.
I haven't read many travel journals. What did it say?
It spoke of a crop that grew easily, even in their infertile soil. Apparently it's really filling and tastes amazing when boiled or baked.
Potato?
It sounds too good to be true. Like a crop out of a fairy tale.
Oh, the potato of fairy tale.
If only I knew what it was called. Shamir might be able to tell you more about it.
My homeland would greatly benefit from cultivating a plant like that.
I can't say for certain if it'll actually grow there, but it's probably worth looking into. And if there's any way I can help, just say the word.
I am sure a royal knight has better things to do than worry about the problems of House Galatea.
This isn't about my station. I'm just a pal lending a hand. Besides, I grew up poor. I know what it's like to go hungry. No one should ever have to experience that.
Thank you, Ash. In that case, our first task is to look deeper into this miracle crop of yours. I wish we could wait until this war is over, but that would take too long. I want to learn all I can about it as soon as possible. Oh, this is so exciting.
Agreed. Now we just have to survive long enough to uncover its secrets.
The potato truly is a secretive thing. Good grief, there are so many. I'll do one more.
Ash, you've come at the perfect time.
Why is that? Oh no, am I interrupting?
Not at all. In fact, I'd like you to try this tea.
Sure. Did you create this blend yourself?
I did. Your talk of medicinal herbs inspired me to study them. I created a number of different brews, thinking I might find one suitable for His Majesty. But first, I would like your opinion on the quality.
Taste testing, is it? I'd be happy to help. Oh, this tastes like...
Yes? How do you find it?
What did you use in this?
The same flour you gathered before, mixed with some other herbs, then steamed. I read that doctors in the capital frequently concoct a similar blend. Does it not suit your tastes?
No, I love it. It actually reminds me of something. Of course. This is what Lenato used to give me when he first took me in.
Lord Lenato used to brew this tea?
He sure did. Wow, this really takes me back. I wasn't born into a noble family, so when I started living with Lenato, I had no idea how to act. I was nervous as anything at first, but I'd always calm right down the moment I drank his tea.
I did read that this tea is useful for calming nerves. Perhaps he was trying to make you feel at home.
That sounds like him. I was pretty young at the time, so I never knew what kind of tea it was. But this definitely has the same flavor. Strange to think I've been in the capital for 2 years now and never came upon it again until today. I wonder if Lenato ever served this tea to Grand Duke Rufus.
He never said?
No, I guess the two of them had a falling out a long time ago. He never really talked about his time in the capital, but I think he started studying herbs as a way to help the Grand Duke. Just like you're studying them to aid His Majesty.
It's possible.
Anyway, thank you, Dedu. That really hit the spot. Hey, would you teach me how to brew it sometime? I'd love to let everyone else try it.
Yes, of course.
Cute. And as much as I'd love to go through some more, I feel like this episode's already going to be getting kind of long, so... off to battle we go, I guess.
Which battlefield are you headed to?
See what nonsense we'll end up with this time.
This one's been leveled too. Every last house in the village reduced to ash. Our first push into enemy territory, and all we have to show for it is the charred remains of people's lives.
The neighboring village was plundered as well. There must have been Imperial soldiers stationed nearby.
What is it, Dimitri?
I don't understand. Why would they do this? Were they trying to stop us from retrieving supplies from these villages? Were they that adamant that we not establish a base here? In a sense, are we responsible for this?
The fiends oppressed this region heavily. Setting it alight was no far step beyond that.
Looked like they raised the fields, too.
What wrong had these people committed to deserve such barbarity, such mindless slaughter? And what sort of foul creature would carry it out?
Hard to say. I can get why they might want to burn the buildings down. But there's no reason to execute all the villagers, too.
They did that.
This isn't usually how the Empire does stuff.
Yeah, they are really working very hard to make them look evil.
Sure, their methods have always been pretty rough, but never downright cruel like this.
Agreed. Perhaps this is the result of their failure at Aryan Road. This devastation, this blackened earth. Can this truly be the world she hopes to create?
I suspect Edelgard is no more than a mere puppet now. That, or perhaps a victim of whatever befell Tomas.
You may just be right.
Urgent news, Your Majesty! The Western Church has launched a surprise attack on our rear flank.
I see. And what of our losses?
Minimal as of yet, but the enemy makes to join up with the Imperial Army and strike again.
What's the call, Dimitri?
I'd like to push on, but it seems we will have to put that on hold for now. The Western Church comes first.
Oh. Oh, that's wild. Okay. Sure.
But why would the Western Church form an army now of all times?
I know they've had many disagreements with the Central Church over the years, but that doesn't explain the timing.
The answer may lie in the reports that some of Cornelia's associates have been seen among their ranks.
Interesting. The Western Church infiltrated by the very foe we hope to strike down. An organization devoted to the salvation of all, overtaken by another dedicated to nothing but chaos. Now there's some irony.
I guess it depends on what happened when. But if the Western Church has been rubbing elbows with Cornelia's people this whole time, they might have played a role of their own in the tragedy of Duscur.
Indeed, I believe the situation holds many hidden truths. Ones we may never have imagined until this very moment.
Tomas, Cornelia, Tallis? They've been pulling the strings this whole time.
Shell looked extremely concerned there.
But what's that mean for me? My power is the exact same as theirs.
It's certainly a puzzle, yes. A quandary even I don't hold the answer to. Perhaps you're related somehow. Though bearing similar abilities doesn't necessarily make you their kin. The good news is, some of them will be in this very battle. Perhaps you can seek out the truth yourself.
Great! Balthus!
I thought this was the Western Church's army. You wouldn't know it with all those outside forces. Imperial and otherwise.
We must help these people, and quickly!
Right. So, do I have to get through these guys? Yeah.
I'll do my best. I'm a little nervous about this.
Let's get this operation.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
I'll do what I can. It's worth a shot.
Here goes. Yeah, I got it.
I will give it my all. I shall do my part.
Let's begin. It's time to move.
Not a problem. I've got this.
We can focus on gaining territory after that. Our priority is granting the local citizens an escape. To do so, we must start by capturing the nearby strongholds.
You're done!
I can still fight!
still people trapped inside the fortress. We need to get to them fast.
You like that?
We shall attack together.
The king.
Not a problem. I've got this.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
Here goes. Let's fight together.
I will give it my all. Please support them.
I'll do what I can. It's worth a shot.
Let's get this operation underway, shall we? Let's move out.
Them's here already? Loot whatever you can.
You're good, it's
This guy
Metody.
here for the wrong job. Who made him an Imperial General anyway?
This isn't even Kingdom territory. What would embolden them to do such things?
We'll go together.
Are you ready, Ash?
Always, just say the word.
Aww, the dialogue is so cute now.
I've got you now. I'll do my... I'm a little nervous about this.
I've got. Take a breather.
I love the spin of this music, it's so good. Oh yes, I need to protect you.
Let's get this operation underway.
At least Yuri's kind of speedy.
Now's our chance. Attack! I'll do my best. I'm a little
You can have your dirty money back. Find someone else for this job.
Not a problem. I've got this.
I'm a little nervous. Leave this to me.
Up and do as you're told. Or I can always cut you to pieces if you can't follow orders.
We will proceed as planned.
Also, can I just take a second to say, of course it's hecking Metody who's going after the innocents. We hate Metody.
I'm a little nervous about this.
I've awaited this moment.
One stronghold secured. We must now capture another.
You won't stop! We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
Starting my turn? What are you staring at? Bow before me.
It's tantamount to death for these people should these strongholds fall. We must keep them secure.
Give it up! It's not over.
think that's all of them. No matter what happens from here on out, we have to keep them safe. I'll do my best. I'll back them up. I'll do what I can.
We saved as many as we possibly could. Now we need to see them safely evacuated to the strongholds outside the fortress.
Yeah, working on it.
I see you trying to sneak away. Not on my watch. You fools will get what you deserve.
We have a squad of healers in reserve. They should be able to provide aid to injured citizens.
I'm out of here if we're killing innocent people. Goes against the Merc Code.
It's too late to have morals now. We're paying you to kill. So you buckle down and do it.
Let's move out. Let's get starting the mission now.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
Not a problem. I'm here to help.
I've awaited this moment.
Please, heal them.
Thank the goddess. I hope that grants us some peace of mind for a little while.
I refuse to hold back. You won't stop me! I will move to assist.
I'm a little... Here I go!
Let's see them off with a nice parting gift!
Or don't.
Those ballistae are trouble. We should split up and...
I'll do what I can. It's worth a shot.
Let's get this operation underway, shall we? Starting them.
Take them down.
Not today. Not Get out of here, Benedict. Said I'm leaving.
And I said, you're going nowhere! You'll stay put and watch these peasants die!
Is that a dissenter in their ranks? We should reach out before things escalate any further.
Watch and learn.
You saved me!
I'll do my best. I'm a little nervous about this.
Not a problem. I've got this.
I will give it. I shall do my part.
Lonku. Mr. Fire Emblems, you are directly in front of the map. That's not actually terribly helpful. Will you lie down, please, so I can see past you? Okay, good boy. You can stay if you're not in my way.
Yeah, I got it.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
Thanks a bunch! Give it up!
Easy now.
Give it up! Come on! You're letting them get away! I'm not done feasting on the fear in their eyes yet!
You know, you could still not.
They just keep coming.
Fight and keep your prizes safe at the same time, isn't it?
Bow before me.
Come on. gotta be kidding me! Let me out!
We did it! We've created a safe path forward.
I can still fight! Give it up!
Anyway, Balthus. How exactly do I aid you?
Let's get this operation underway.
I would love to do so.
Starting the mission now.
I'll do my best.
Is there anyone else handy I can go and kill?
I'm a little nervous about...
Not a problem. I've got this.
I will give it my all. Please support them.
I thought everyone's just ended up in one area at this point.
I'll do what I can. It's worth a shot.
Here goes. Yeah, I got it.
Let's take it for ourselves.
I won't lose!
The people should be safe in the strongholds for now, but we must keep defending them to the very end.
I will please support them.
Here goes. Let's fight together.
Unbelievable. They've all escaped! Guess it's time to finish this myself!
Oh, here we go.
Ah, perfect. The big bad's...
You let all the maggots get away, but I wasn't done torturing them. You'll just have to take their place.
Really delightful fellow, Metody.
Don't take your eyes off the...
Oh, Balthus is straight up an ally right now.
Let's get this up.
Fine by me.
Not a problem. I'm here to help.
Lonku, your leg is now covering half of the... He's lying on his back with one of his back legs pointed directly up at the monitor. It's certainly an experience.
It's worth a shot.
I'll do my best. I'm a little nervous about this.
Actually, I really don't trust that this thing is still locked.
Nervous about this.
So I'm going to leave Ash over there for now. How'd Dimitri end up over there?
We will proceed as planned.
That's a mystery.
I will move to assist.
Strongholds, but this is our chance to take him down.
Give it up!
Here goes!
Okay, that hurts.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
Here goes. Yeah, I got it.
I will give it my all.
Oh, Shell, you're dying.
Still needs to be dealt with. Get in.
I shall take That's how it's gonna be, huh? Don't think I'll just take this slide down.
Here it comes! You're done!
close the gates to the strongholds that are sheltering the evacuees.
I shall take the lead. Thanks for the rescue. What was I thinking? Taking a job working under those jerks.
I refuse to hold back. You won't stop! Perhaps you'd like to join us instead, then. We can make it worth your while.
Sure, why not? You mind if I get a breather first, though? It's been a rough one.
I refuse to hold back. You won't stop!
It's very weird playing this with a cat's leg blocking half of my field of vision. Good grief, Lonku. Come on, leg down. Good boy.
Now that the people are safe, we can press the enemy with no holds barred. We must strive to perform to the best of our—
Here goes. Yeah, I got it.
I will give it my all.
Where did Metody go? Oh, he's literally there.
Please
okay.
support them.
I've got this. Take a breather.
I will protect this place. Watch and see.
Wait. If it's money you want, I'll split the loot.
Strange, man. But the battle's not over, so who else is gonna show up?
Watch and see.
I did see Randolph in one of the side quests, so maybe he'll appear.
Okay, we're almost there. Keep it up, everyone.
Seriously, what are we waiting for? Seriously, what are we waiting for? Oh, we have to kill this one person. Okay.
I've awaited this moment.
There we go.
Is that what passes for an Imperial general these days?
Ultimately, Metody, you were no better than a stupid beast. You will withdraw.
Great! Oh, it's Myson.
Liberator of humankind from the control of filthy vermin.
Myson turned up an entire one time.
We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
At the very end of Dimitri's route.
I'm a little nervous about this.
And didn't really do a lot, so I don't know why
do what I can.
he's here now, but...
We march. I'll do what I can.
Sure, I guess.
I've got this. My turn. You got my back?
So that...
Not a problem. I've got this.
Here goes. Let's fight together.
That guy's the brains behind all this.
My turn.
Don't let him get away.
Watch and learn.
I'll do it.
Well, the music got dramatic. I'm in favor.
We must keep the people safe. Whatever happens, protect our strongholds.
That's right, they've got convenient walls on them now.
To the Empire's brutality, this wasn't what I signed up for. I'm out of here.
Who's out of here? I wasn't paying attention.
Let's settle this thing. Bow before me.
Oh.
Don't let them get away.
You, probably.
Let's get this operation starting the mission now.
Might be time for this. Not a problem. I've got this.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform. I've awaited this moment. Lend me your strength.
You are all descendants of the most inconsequential of beasts, and your deaths will fuel our grand ambition.
Fun.
You know, these look an awful lot like Cornelius creeps.
I will not be held up by such foul vermin.
Take a breather. Take you all on.
It's as good as ours!
Attack! Give them no quarter!
Still fight!
Well, your outfit gets extra ridiculous when you're awakened, huh?
This wasn't the plan.
Who's dying?
We can do it!
I guess probably the Western Church person. Wilhelm, apparently.
Not a problem.
Okie dokes, that's that done.
I've got this.
We will proceed as planned. We must strive to perform to the best of our ability.
Leave this to me!
No matter the justification, your actions are inexcusable.
Are you ready, Ash?
Always, just say the word!
Still here.
Great view of the wall we're getting.
I've got you now!
Wait. Even with this hecking cat's foot in front of it.
Here. No sense in sticking around.
Unless?
Mycen, was it?
Your efforts saved countless lives today. Hold your head high.
Well, we did a thing.
So, do I...
Oh, Lord.
I won't let myself... Yeah.
This will help
Where are you, Mycen?
He's behind you.
Why? Why do you wield the power of Epimenides?
The power of who now?
Epimenides?
Tell me, where did you obtain it? Unless... his core...
His what? What are you even talking about? The power I got from Arvel?
I'm not sensing his presence anymore. Mycen has fled.
Yeah, and left us with nothing but questions. I didn't get a word of what he was saying.
Afraid the same goes for me. That was all quite perplexing indeed.
Either way, it's clear as day we're connected somehow.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Arvel, this power of yours, it's more dangerous than you've been letting on.
You think? I have to say, you've handled it with some serious aplomb these past few years. If you ask me, I see no reason to start fearing it now. The strength I've given you has saved countless lives, and you know it.
Something about that makes me nervous. I don't trust him.
Don't you remember what Dimitri said? Power itself is neutral. The good or evil comes from the one who wields it. So I say you keep using it, both to protect your friends and to finally defeat the Ashen Demon.
We're on that again. Good lord.
Got something on your mind? You seemed oh so distracted during your training today.
A bit, yeah. It's kinda hard to just move on after what Mycen said to me. Speaking of, he mentioned my power coming from some guy named Epimenides? Part of me wonders if that's not somehow referring to you, Arvel.
I can't say for sure. The whole no memories thing, remember?
I presume that the core that he mentioned functions like a crest stone.
Right. I guess neither of us really know the truth about ourselves.
And I don't care to. Not now, anyway. There's an order all this should be done in. Priorities that take hold. If you let yourself get distracted by every shiny new object that comes along, you'll never reach your goal.
Which is what exactly? Wait, don't tell me.
Defeating the Ashen Demon. Everything starts from there. You can think for the rest of time if you want, but you'll never discover the truth with only the information you have now. Not to mention that ending that fiend is the best and only way to protect the new friends you adore so much.
Yeah, I really don't trust this.
Yeah, you're probably right.
His Majesty requests your presence. Lord Rodrigue has just arrived. They hope to discuss strategy.
Got it. I'll be right over.
Yep. Narwhal's
Such
trust levels
concludes
are...
the report I received from my son. The Western Church's assault does not appear to have meaningfully hampered the kingdom's progress.
Well, you're alive and you look about as smug as I expected you would.
Glad to hear it. We'd better make sure we can keep up.
It sounds like everyone's pulling their weight over there too. What a relief.
But Claude, what do you propose we actually do? Crossing the Great Bridge of Murden will only land us square in Burgley's territory, home to the Empire's Minister of Military Affairs himself.
I don't get how we can invade the Empire without losing a ton of people.
Simple. We don't really invade. All we have to do is make it look like we will. I told Dimitri the same thing. Remember, Garrick Mach is the actual prize here. If we get dragged into a mud fight deep in their territory, pulling out won't be an option. The most important thing is convincing them they need to keep a nice, big flock of troops stationed to defend the Eastern Front.
And how do we do that?
How else? We use the many-headed snake.
Ugh, gross. I don't like the sound of this.
I don't know if I trust it either.
Don't worry, that's just the name of the strategy. It's an old trick they used to pull east of Fódlan. Imagine our army's a many-headed snake, striking at a bunch of different targets all at once. Meaning not just the Great Bridge of Murden, but every other bridge that spans the Aramid too. The second the Empire starts trying to sever any one head in particular, we pull it back and redouble our efforts from the others.
A plan as arrogant and brazen as our leader himself, and yet an effective one to hear tell of it. At any rate, my opinion bears little weight in this chamber. I leave the decision to you.
I also love that they basically just gave him Lawrence's post-time skip hairstyle from Houses.
We need to consider all our options here. If we really do reclaim Garrick Mach, Fódlan will undoubtedly change. And when it does, our army needs the strength to greet whatever horizon awaits.
Great! Well, I take it that's the end of the chapter, so I'm gonna leave it here. So thank you for watching, and we'll see what comes next time. Goodbye.